Hi, welcome. I'm WA. Today we're going to be doing some seascapes for Seascape Friday. I'm going to be using DaVinci paints, phthalo green, yellow shade, ultramarine, green shade, venetian red, and yellow ochre. The brushes I'll be using are Dainayw. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name. They look like the black velvet brushes, but much more affordable. They're pretty good. Okay, so it's gonna be an easy tutorial. I'll show you how to sketch the painting and step by step. I don't think we should need any more colors in these. We'll see. Okay, so we're gonna start with the horizon line right here. 2/3 maybe? Yeah. Just a line. Simple. You can move the line however you want. Then we're gonna do a cave. We're gonna start it here. Why not? Doesn't need to be perfect, you know. You know what? I'm gonna move the line just a little bit down. Just like that. And then we're gonna draw a mountain range from the back. Right here. And then fade it out to the horizon line right here. And a boat right here. We can right there. Okay. We're going to start with the sky first. Just take your eraser end so that the lines aren't too dark and distracting. Enough so that you can still see your sketch. Okay. You're gonna take your ultramarine in whatever brand or shade you have. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna take number 8 brush. You're also gonna need your water, and I use this fiber towel used to clean to wash cars and windows. Use whatever you have. Okay. Here. For the sky, you don't want the blue to be too strong. You're gonna dilute it. Like so. You're just doing a wash for the sky. You're gonna wet your paper following the edges of the cave. Just wet your paper gently, like so. So when you put your blue into the sky, you're gonna leave a few empty places. Okay, you're gonna put a darker blue here. And then just let that dry. Once the sky is dry, we're gonna move on to the water. So to the blue mix right here, you're gonna add the green, phthalo green, just a tiny bit. You're gonna use a lighter green blue right here at the top, and as you go lower, you're gonna use a darker blue. I'll show you how to darken your ultramarine to create like a shadow at the bottom. You want this aqua green right here. That should be good. You're going to paint around the boat. Bring your brush, and just like the sky, you're gonna wet the water. Wet the water. Wet the paper to paint the water. Does that make sense? Just follow the line here. If your sky and water bleed into each other, you can either wipe it off with your towel or just let it bleed. It gives your painting character, I think. Okay. You don't need to wet it too much, just enough so that the paint will spread. Grab your aqua green, move it along here, and then take your ultramarine blue, add it back to your mix, and there you go. Push the paint back into the green. Now you're gonna take your Venetian red, add it to the mixture. Just stab it like so. Let it bleed. And if it's too dark for you, just add more blue. It's too wet. If you put your brush and it's soaking wet, you're gonna create like a cauliflower. So just make sure to dry off your brush a bit. Like so. Dry your brush off and just try to blend it. Now you're gonna let that dry. The top looks dry already, but the bottom is still shiny. And so now we're gonna work on the mountain range. I'm gonna take the small brush, size 4. Take your yellow ochre. And just fill in the mountains. And then with the tip of the brush, just follow the line and let it blend into the line. Take a bit of your Venetian red and mix it in with the yellow ochre and a tiny bit of the ultramarine blue. Make sure your brush isn't too wet and go back into the still wet mountains. Just dab to create texture. And if you want to add more dimensions to it, go straight in with the Venetian red and dab in. Just a tiny bit. And then just pull that color. Darken your brown mixture with a little bit more ultramarine. And then just line the bottom of the mountains. You can let it bleed back into the mountains. If it's too dry, you can just wet it again or leave it. Doesn't matter. Like that. Once that's dry, we're gonna go back in and add the shadows for the mountains and for the boat. So I think it's dry. We're gonna do the boat next. Grab your yellow ochre and go in. Just like that. Let it dry. So while that's drying, we're gonna do the cave. I'm gonna go in with a number 6. I think a number 8. No, number 6. Take your aqua mix and just dab it. Just anywhere. Careful with the edges here. Take your yellow ochre, same. It might turn green, that's okay. Take more. You don't want to mix it all together very well. You want to still be able to see the different colors you made. If it dries on you, that's okay. Don't stress too much about it. Okay, now we're gonna make a dark bluish brown. Take your ultramarine and your Venetian red, like that. leave it while it's a dark blue, and then we're gonna darken it a bit more, make it more dark in a moment. You just want to have dimensions to the rock, like that. Okay. Now you're gonna add more Venetian red till it's a neutral color. Play with the mixture a bit. That's fine. Okay. You're gonna go around the edges now. Just like that. Okay. Clean your brush, wet it, then dry it off a bit so that when you go in, you're not charging paint. Just pull the color out like that. Clean it, dry it, go back and forth. If you re-wet the paint that you laid down already, that's fine. We're not worrying too much about perfection today. It's just about learning and having fun. Just pull the color out like that. Okay, you're gonna go back to your green and your blue. Then add it back to places. Then clean your brush, dry it, and blend it out. Now with the yellow ochre once more. Okay, that looks good. With that same mixture you had before, with the ultramarine and the Venetian red, you're gonna create the shadows for the mountains. Just with the tip, line it. With aqua, line it below. Clean your brush, dry it. You're gonna pull that color like that. Just like that. Now for the boat. Take that ultramarine and Venetian mixture line the bottom of the boat. You're not going to pull the color down. You're just going to keep adding waves. Just like that. And you see how we drew that line that we haven't colored in yet? That line right here. You're just going to follow it here. You can even go back to your green blue. Do the same. Like that. Try and just like that. Take your Venetian red with a semi-dry brush. You're going to draw a line. Just like that. And we're done. See how easy, simple. Now you've painted your seascape. Thank you for joining me today. Have a good one, and I'll see you soon.